TV18, but Mr. M Damodaran, former SEBI chairman, is an avid football fan. We had the pleasure of hosting you, Mr. Damodaran, if you remember, in 2006, just the day before the finals as well. You put your money on Zidane on that day, but the winners actually turned out to be Italy. But it will be interesting to know what you think of the FIFA and which teams you are backing. So that really is the first question. First and foremost, who do you think will take away this FIFA World Cup?
Before I respond to that, firstly,
Yes.
thank you for having me on this program. Before I respond to that, let me respond to your first observation about 2006.
Yes.
Immediately after the 2006 World Cup, I did a review where I said, 4 years before 2010, that Spain was the team to watch out for. Even the octopus predicted it only the previous night. So, as far as my predicting abilities go, I've been fairly close to the mark, as far as football is concerned. That said, you're asking me arguably the most difficult question, which team will lift the cup? There are a large number of teams. It has now become a game where on a given day any team can beat any other, as we saw in the recent English Football League, where teams that were not given a ghost of a chance managed to upset much better teams. That said, let me give you 3 or 4 names, and I would be very surprised if the winner came from outside that list. A, for Argentina, I did hear some people in your studio say Argentina. I think they are closer to the truth than most people. B would be for Brazil. C is not for Chile, I can tell you, in fact, not for Cameroon either. I don't see a C in my list, but Germany is what I had, I don't bet, but what I had figuratively put my money on in 2010 when talking about 2014.
Okay.
After the 2010 World Cup, I still think Germany is a good, well-organized side, not too many superstars, well-trained, disciplined machine, good chance to get there. These 3 in my book, I think there are some outsiders who are on the periphery. I would be surprised if an Uruguay got it, but on a day they could beat any side. I think it's entirely possible that even a young English side might pull off a surprise or 2. But do they have what it takes to reach the top? I'm not so sure.
Okay. Mr. Damodaran, good morning. In fact, we don't have Paul now, but we have a turtle, I understand. The Animal Oracle predictions for the World Cup have already begun. So this is pictures of Big Head, the loggerhead turtle. He's chosen, or he or she, I don't know, but has chosen Brazil to win the opening game of the World Cup. So let's see what the final predictions are. But Mr. Damodaran, I just wanted to come in on that point you made about Germany getting a chance, because I'm supporting that team. In terms of players, who do you think could win the Golden Boot this time around? Because in the last 2 World Cups, it was German players who won it.
I don't see anyone as a standout performer. It would of course depend on which team travels how far in the tournament. It could be one of the strikers from Spain, though Spain is an aging side. It's practically the same side that was there 4 years ago. The legs have got 4 years older, and it's not going to be very difficult, and the recent performances have not been very good. It might not be a Messi. What will happen in this tournament is that for all the hype, I hope I'm proved wrong, but for all the hype around Messi and Ronaldo, defenses are going to crowd them out, and therefore watch out for the lesser players in those teams who will get less attention from the defenders to score more goals. So the Golden Boot really doesn't fascinate me, because I think the real key to winning is the persons who make those defense-splitting passes, the guys that hold up the rear, not just the guy that gets his boot in the way of the ball at the proverbial last minute or last second.
Will heat come in the way of Germany? After all, they're not used to that kind of tropical weather.
Pardon?
Will Germany lose out because of the temperature, because of the heat? Are Argentina favourites simply because they're more comfortable with the weather?
Other things remaining the same, Argentina has the advantage. How important is the weather going to be? I think these are professionals we're talking about. They have got some kind of acclimatization already done. What I really worry about, and I use worry advisedly, is injuries. This is a long tournament. Any team has to win 7 matches or do well in 7 matches to take home the cup. Unless you have bench strength, and I'm a great believer in good teams having bench strength. That is what helped the winning teams in the last 3 or 4 World Cups. If you don't have bench strength, if you don't have a good intermediate line, you're not going to win the tournament. And I think that is what set Spain apart in 2010. Not just one standout player, it's not one Ronaldo for Portugal or, one or 2 players somewhere else.
So, Mr. Damodaran, in your mind, which is the team the team that has the strongest defense, you think, out of the entire list?
Spain has practically the same defense as last time. Practically the same. The goalkeeper is the same. He's a very good goalkeeper, but in the last 1 year he has let down the side a couple of times. I think some of the other teams that are fancied, Brazil for example has, to my mind, a fairly porous defense, and Brazil does not have a strong goalkeeper. Julio Cesar played for one of the lesser teams, not even in the Premier League in England, and didn't do too well even there. So I do not think that, and that is why I don't think Brazil is an out-and-out favourite, as some people would have you believe, because they are on home turf and they have Neymar playing for them and all of that. I think their defence is quite weak. There are teams where you haven't heard much of the defenders, but when push comes to shove, these are the guys that will stand up and deliver. Italy has a great goalkeeper, a reasonable defense, but it's a team that I'm not supporting for the simple reason. I don't think it all adds up. They don't have 11 guys that can deliver in 7 matches.
So what will be the winning stroke or winning feature for Argentina, you think?
Argentina's winning feature, and I hope to be proved wrong on this, but I guess I'm right, will be the defense paying too much attention to Messi and allowing the likes of Angel Di Maria to come in. That, I think, is where you're going to see the action. The left flank of Argentina, because if you really drill deep, and I don't have time on your program to do that, it is the right fullbacks that are the weak spots in many of the fancy teams.
That is very true, actually. They also have names like Aguero, Higuain, etc. that might show their wonder this time around. But thanks so much, Mr. Damodaran, for taking the time out.
They have a very good forward side, but I'm betting on the left winger.
Okay. Thank you for your thoughts. We've run out of time because we're getting too many alerts from our director. But thank you for joining us as always. And we'll keep talking to you, of course, through the course of this season. But that's a wrap.